record now. So you guys might have to hit okay. I'm not sure on your side, but going to start recording here. Welcome to the Energy for Sales monthly live podcast. Guys, this is your forum. Most of the invitees to this monthly, and I don't broadcast this monthly. I'm talking to a marketing person right now who's going to help us take this and get it out in a kind of a bigger way. But at the end of the day, this is for our graduates. This is for the Energy for Sales professional selling accelerator cohorts. This is where the graduates land. So every month you kind of just get that re-spark. And if you're anything like me, life happens, right? You've got personal stuff going on. You got family stuff going on. You got team, culture, environment, and then you got customers. And if you're in sales, rejection, right? Every day. And so how do you build and bolster a mindset that is that you enjoy being around? Have you ever just not enjoyed being around yourself? Raise my hand. Um, so number one, a mindset you enjoy being around. Number two, a mindset that inspires belief. You walk in the room and people think it's possible now. Think about that. Think about the leader you love working with. They're the kind of person that walks in the room. And yeah, we've all worked for the leaders who are a little bit more, more high D, direct, get it done. But at the end of the day, they have this like deep belief in us, in what's possible, that it could be done. But think about that person who walks in and they have that deep belief and they exude confidence. You want to follow that person. So my question today, and kind of setting this table for our conversation today, is where do you want to increase confidence in your life? We're going to be talking today on this subject of abundant confidence. I'm building a training right now for a bunch of loan officers, actually, and some loan officers are on the call today. Welcome, right? Real estate agents, title folks, the trifecta of real estate. And we get a straggler in here from home warranty. Somebody was on earlier. Insurance, Goosehead Insurance. So, thank you guys for being on, right? All sorts of the ancillary, I call them ancillary services in the core real estate world, but I get to talk to mortgage people, real estate people, title people, and it's interesting. Kind of three things happen. Three things happen to us. Number one, success happens, and because of that success, actually, success is one of the best ingredients to complacency. Okay, success breeds complacency. So success, we have a measure of success, and that breeds complacency, and our confidence becomes what I call stale. Okay. Have you ever heard the saying? And I don't like the saying, but I'm going to use it because it sums it up pretty good. There's no fool like an old fool. What's an old fool? Somebody who's very confident in the wrong way of doing something. And I believe that people have been successful, grew complacent, stopped growing, and their confidence comes across as know-it-all, as cocky, as kind of that old fool definition. And then there's the people, I believe, who they naturally exude like they have that natural ability to see the glass half full. They walk in the room, you want to follow them, but life has beat them up. Okay. Some of you on this call today, that you might be landing here on a Monday afternoon to get that spark, and this is you're in the middle of a storm. You're going through something. Life's kind of punched you in the gut, and it's blown the wind out of your sails. And I find this a lot of times where maybe there was a big deal you were counting on. Maybe it was a big account that moved away overnight, and there was a relationship, a friendship there, and that generated a lot of hurt. And I see a lot of good sales professionals. It's like their confidence goes out the window. It's not gone forever, but it needs to be recovered. And so, if you're here, stick with us. We're going to talk about us today, right? Going through something, right? And then I call it the young professional, right? You don't know what you don't know yet, but you're walking in, and sometimes you hear the term fake it till you make it. I don't actually like that term, but again, I'm not trying to make absolute statements. You can't use it. You can use the term fake it till you make it, because I understand what that means. It means just keep showing up. You're going to learn if you just stick to it. And I agree with that. Grab the chain and hang on mentality. Because persistence and, as somebody said, resilience and persistence are 67% of success. Talent and ability is the other 33%. So I get that. But confidence too sometimes we exude that we lack confidence, or we're like over apologetic, or we're showing up and it's almost like we don't feel like we belong. And so I believe that confidence is built, but I think it's chosen first. My buddy Alex Goldfan, he wrote the book Selling Boldly. It's a really good read, but he talks about some mindset shifts in that book. I'll touch on like one of them today, and but confidence overall in his book is, he says, it's chosen and then further developed. Confidence is chosen and then further developed. So whether you find yourself kind of successful, but maybe kind of grown plateaued, grown complacent, or you find yourself typically that confident connector, relevant, evolving, but life's hit you out of nowhere and you're kind of like just the wind's knocked out of your sails. You don't feel confident because it's like, how can I even show up for others when I'm trying to breathe myself? And then if you're just newer to any job or career or industry, and you're saying, I don't know what I don't know. How can I even show up? And I'm struggling, feeling like I belong. Where are you in that? In which category do you feel like you're at? Here's what I know: when people graduate the Energy for Sales Professional Accelerator, which we're about to kick one off in the fall cohort. I'm so super stoked about. Kind of back to school, all in the brain. The kids, two of the middle schoolers started today, two high schoolers started last week. So we're all in this like back to school mentality, right? So, and hopefully all you guys who have kids have made it off to school and everyone's happy and settled in, and we're all breathing a little easier, right? But anyway, um, with this whole back to school, what I hear a lot of people come through a training program is, at the end, the biggest piece of feedback that I hear is, my confidence is up. And what is that? What is that? What is that? It's because you took time, you invested time. I don't like saying spent the time, because if you spent it, you don't get it back. When you're training yourself, like Stephen Covey says, when we sharpen the saw, we're going to be more effective. It was Abe Lincoln who said, if I have a forest to clear and you give me 8 hours, I'm going to take 6 to sharpen my axe. Think about that, right? So are we swinging a sharp axe? And it's investing time like this that helps our confidence increase, because we're given tools, we're given frameworks, we're given mindsets that help us think about things differently in the moment. But also, it's putting ourselves into training. And so today it's about abundant confidence. I'm building this training, like I said, for mortgage professionals. I thought, man, I'm in the middle of building this thing. And I thought I would bring some questions to you guys. I'm going through these questions, building these questions out for this big program that we're putting on. And so I just thought, let me bring these questions to this live podcast. And I just wanted to remind everybody, this is alive. This is this is your opportunity to drop questions. And I'm going to reference a few questions that I got throughout the month as I'm moving around coaching and speaking. I love bringing live questions, but this is your chance, guys. So if you have a question, please, by all means, I'm just going to drop in the chat here questions here, because I see a couple more people joining. So questions here. Okay. If you have questions as we go through, drop them in the chat. But here we go. I'm going to drop a few questions myself. So here's the first question for you guys. Where in your life or business do you currently feel the most confident, and why? I think that's important. Take some inventory. Where do you show up most confidently? One area that somebody asked me recently said, how do I take my confidence with like the operations of the business and move that into sales? I want to grow. I want to move into a sales role, but I've been in operations and I keep getting sucked back in, and it's comfortable. I know all the systems. I know how to log in and get it done quick. And it's hard to make this shift over when I don't see any results right away happening when I'm reaching out to prospects. Okay, great question, right? You have confidence because you have depth. Somebody said confidence is the memory of success. I said again, confidence is the memory of success. So in sales, my question would be, where could you earn some quick and easy wins? Where could you earn some quick and easy wins? That would be my question on top of this one. But where in your life or business do you currently feel the most confident? And then where do you currently feel underconfident or hesitant to act? Where do you feel underconfident or hesitant to act? And the reason I ask that question is, there is something on all of our, and this might have nothing to do with sales. This might just be life. but there is something in all of our hearts that I believe we were born with, we were called to be, and we have dreamt of since we were little. And we've maybe expressed it in certain ways. Maybe we've written something in a journal, maybe, but there's a gift inside of each one of you on this call. There's a gift inside of each one of us that I believe ends up usually making it to like a goal sheet at the beginning of the year. And I've led enough teams through like vision boarding and setting goals that I see these, what I call big, hairy, audacious goals, the BHAGs, right? And I see them, and then halfway through the year, I'll be like circling back with this company. I'm like, hey, how's this going? It's like, oh, life got busy. And like 18 years go by, right? What is the missing ingredient? Oftentimes it's confidence. Oftentimes it's confidence because we haven't done it yet. We can't see ourselves. We can't envision ourselves at that finish line, right? It's a new finish line. It's new territory. It's uncharted waters, and we can't envision ourselves there. So we pause, we procrastinate, we freak out inside, and we make up all these excuses. But if we're really, really honest with ourselves, and I think we should be, and not be afraid of our feelings, it'd be, hey, I'm scared. And that's a perfectly okay feeling to admit. So why do we say abundant confidence? Okay, I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Abundant confidence comes from this idea. And I have to give Charlotte Harrell, my friend at Atlantic Bay Mortgage, just so much credit for concepting this idea with me of, okay, abundant confidence. All right, so let me describe something to all of us real quick. There is what's called, and maybe some of us have heard this. Maybe, drop in the chat if you've heard this. Above the line, below the line. Above the line, below the line. Have you heard this? Have you heard this thinking, this reasoning? Above the line, below the line. Above the line, below the line. All right. Drop in the chat if you have. Above the line, below the line. If you haven't, let me tell you a quick story. I just want you to remember blue ticket. Blue ticket, okay? This is how we're going to remember above the line, below the line. Blue ticket. Okay, Jeannie, you have. Awesome. So, blue ticket, okay? Let me tell you a quick story. So my son, we signed him up for UVA's ID Tech Robo Build summer camp. And he's going up to build robots, and they're going to be the battle robots. And they get up there with 16 other teenagers, and they assign them into groups, and it's a week-long camp. So I pick him up from camp the first day, and I'm like, buddy, my first question, so you going back tomorrow? And he says, and I could totally see it. He was like mustering up as much courage to answer me. He says, yep. It was just a yep. And when he says yep, then there's usually something behind the yip. It's almost a yip, not a yep, but it's yip. And I could just see it. It's in his face. And I'm like, so how did it go? It went good. Okay. Yeah. So I was like, okay, do I keep pressing or do I just let some time? So I'm driving 5 minutes. He says, hey, Daddy. He's like, could you get your money back for this thing? And I was like, there it is. There it is. And I'm like, oh no, bomb. I'm like, oh man, like, and he had researched this. He wanted this so bad. He even told me, Dad, I know it's a lot of money. Like, if I need to help save for this, this is what I want. Like, it was a camp he wanted. First day out, could you get your money back? And I'm like, no, I can't. And I wasn't even gonna look. Like, I know I can't, but I was like, no, I can't. I was like, but if you don't want to go back, I'm not gonna be upset. And he's like looking like, I'm like, just tell me about it. And so he starts talking, and he was assigned to this team. And there was this one kid who came behind him all day long, just took everything apart. And I'm like, so I'm holding my laugh in. You guys are probably laughing. I mean, it's hurt my heart too, but it was also like, okay, all right. So tell me about, like, what's his name? Oh, he told me his name, and I'm like, okay, all right. All right. He's like, he just seems like he's better than everybody. He knows it all. He took all my stuff apart, re-put it back together, and this, that, and the other, and we're not moving fast. And then towards the end of the day, the chassis was supposed to be done, and it's not. And then he took it apart. Now we're not where we need to be. The other teams are getting ahead, and I said, okay, all right. So I took him on this little journey, and I told him, I said, hey, buddy, I said, like, when you're 21, like, what do you want to be doing? Well, I want to be down at Waldrop, like working on a spaceship or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like going through school. He like has these grand. I'm like, that's awesome. You're totally gonna do that. I'm like, but what if I told you that sticking with this week, this program was less about having a finished robot and more about giving you ingredients like for that. And he was like, he's sitting there, he's thinking. I'm like, here's the deal. To be successful as an engineer, you cannot work alone. Inventors work alone and sometimes takes them their whole life just to get one of their inventions like seen and like adopted or whatever. And, a lot of times they get rich after they're like passed on. Like, so I wasn't trying to paint like this, like negative. There's some great inventors out there. Don't get me wrong. But it was like to be an engineer, you have to learn to work with others, right? And and he does great with others, but it's just again, he just felt torn down all day long. His confidence was gone. And so I said, "Hey, buddy," I was like, I said, what if you went back one more day, just one more day? And I said, what if in the morning you just walk up to, and I won't use the names, but you walk up to this guy, and he said he liked him. He's a great guy and everything. He seemed cordial. I said, just go to him. He's 15 years old. Just say, hey, when I put something together that we all agreed on, like, could we just leave it together? Because it is, we need to keep on track, but then also, I don't want to come behind you and pick your stuff apart either. And we'll all just kind of collaborate and bring it together. Now, if something's going to be a safety issue or whatever, then please, I'm willing to accept like whatever, but just can you not take everything apart? And he's like, okay. And I said, and if there's any, sort of problem there, then just go to your leader, Geo. And he's like, okay. I said, would you do that and go back one more day and then tell me how it goes? And he's like, sure, I'll do it. So, all right, remember blue ticket. Okay, I'm gonna getting to a point here. So he goes back. We pick him up Tuesday night, and and I'm just sitting there going, okay, holding my breath. Okay, what's gonna go down? And all of a sudden, we pick him up. He gets in the car, and he's beaming from ear to ear. And I say, buddy, like, what's up? How did it go? And he said, reaches in his pocket, and he pulls out these blue tickets out of his pocket. And he's like, I got these blue tickets. And I'm like, what are those? He says, they're above the line tickets. And I'm like, immediately got goosebumps. And I'm like, no, don't tell me like UVA's ID Tech is teaching him this above the line, below the line. Now, they didn't sit down and take him through a course of what it was. But what the above the line ticket is you do something that's building a team member up. You do something that's collaborative. You do something that is abundant, above the line, abundant. Think about a barrel, and at the top of the barrel, you draw this line. There's nothing above that line till that barrel is full. Everything below the line is inward. It's about self. It's about, and sometimes, trust me, we talked about it. Abundant confidence. Three things. You either were confident and grew complacent, and success bred complacency, and you're now the old fool category because you're confident about all the wrong things. Number two, you're relevant, you're evolving, you're confident in all the best ways, but life has hit you, taken the wind out of your sails, and now you need to look inward a little bit to heal. I get that. But here's the deal. A lot of people stay there. There's not enough business out there. There's not enough this. I don't know the right thing to say, so therefore I'm not going to send the email. A lot of people, it's I don't know. I. So that is below the line right there. And then sometimes below the line is that young professional we talked about doesn't feel like they belong. They don't know what they don't know. So there's three categories, right? Every one of those three categories can feel below the line. You could be successful above the line trying to stay curious, not leveling up. So above the line is how do you take the barrel and fill it over? That is abundant confidence. Okay. And so Charlotte and I are built. So anyway, back to Jeremy real quick. He said above the line tickets. So he told me about each one of the tickets he got throughout the day. And it was he invested in his team member because he had that conversation. The leader saw it, kind of came over, hey, how's it going? And Jeremy told him what he was talking about. And the other team member was like, yep, I didn't realize that was a thing. We moved on. And he pulled Jeremy aside because he wasn't, they were doing it kind of in secret. He's like, hey, here's a ticket. This is above the line because you were a team member. And Jeremy, at the end, everyone got an award for something different. And Jeremy got the Resilient Award. And I will tell you that I was a moment I just teared up so big. But here's the deal. Confidence is chosen, then further developed. Abundant confidence sees it as this. Confidence is not for me alone. Confidence is for the people I'm called to. All of us are called to lead in some way. And when I lack confidence that this firm belief that it can be done, I have what it takes. I possess the skills, not necessarily to get it done today, but to stop and learn how to get it done. that's where we start believing in ourselves again in all the healthiest ways. We don't have this inflated opinion of what we can do, but we have this humble belief that with God's help and the help of others and enough learning and taking like strides toward not just learning for sake of learning and sitting on our duff all life, but learning and starting to take immediate action, we can choose confidence. So we're going to have a quick rundown. And David, the blue ticket, dude, you didn't even know I was talking about blue tickets, and you wore your blue shirt. It was literally that color too. But anyway, David, welcome to the podcast. We played our song, which you're gonna have to. I got to text to you and you get to. I think I texted you before, but
You
anyway,
did.
we
I was
played a
blown away.
song.
Blown away.
We kind of set the table for confidence and building and back to school. And but anyway, it's kind of set the stage for choosing abundant confidence. So we're going to go through 8 what I call critical mindset shifts to kind of play off Alex Goldfatten's word critical, but 8 mindset shifts to choosing and developing confidence that your clients are attracted to. They want to be around you. Your team wants to believe in what your vision is because you believe it's possible and believe that you actually need them to get it done. That's also confidence, like confidence in that I need others. And so, David, welcome. Abundant confidence. Like, what comes to mind? I mean, you've been training on confidence with sales teams and groups for a long time. What comes to mind for you with abundant confidence?
Well, first off, apologies for being a little delayed, even though I set the expectation. It's always interesting to jump into a conversation that's already going. And so you have to have a little bit of confidence even to do that. My question to
Hey,
you, what if I had a smaller bucket that was easier to fill so I could be above the line? Would that be helpful? No,
sometimes in life you have to
yes,
choose a small. You have to
yeah.
downsize, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation.
So
I
it's
like it.
interesting. I'm going to look over here to my right on LinkedIn. There are two messages, two notifications I got. One of them, Patrick Cornell, who's a famous band artist. He said that I knew, I knew her before Tom Brady. So he had met Giselle at an event they were playing, and he was nervous, so he wasn't confident, and I guess he lost her like right at the beginning. But I thought that was interesting. And another
Wow,
person I'm connected with wrote, feel the fear and do it anyway.
wow.
And
We're
I
gonna talk
think
about
part
that.
of confidence is that, when you mentioned what the topic was going to be, my mind went a couple places. I didn't know where I was going to jump in or what you've talked about. I think that, some elements, and you talked about the junior salesperson. A lot of the key is just being prepared. Like when am I most confident? When I am fully prepared
Yeah,
to do a presentation, to do a QBR, whatever I'm going to do. So, um, the old adage, fake it until you make it. That can help a little bit, but I think true confidence is born out of your preparedness for what you're going to walk into and speak to. A lot of times it can be daunting. You don't know what you're going to walk into. Uh, and to your point, if you're humble, curious, and just have the aura that you belong there, that confidence, can build. We've all been in different scenarios where we were not comfortable, not confident. It can be a scary place, but I think preparedness, and research. How do you get prepared? Well, you research. You understand if
yeah.
I'm going to do a networking event, what's the dress code? How am I going to be confident? Um, we teach always get there early because you get to see everybody that comes in. There's nothing worse than walking into a packed room, and I don't think you're really confident until you find a person you can latch onto. So just that's kind of a few places we went. I don't know if you've been to some of those places already, or you wanted to go.
See, I'm
That's
completely
me.
opposite. I love walking to a packed room, but again, know yourself enough to say what helps me feel. And it's actually one of the questions I wanted to pose was to everybody, what does abundant confidence mean to you? Obviously, I've described the above the line and abundance. Abundance has to do with others. So for me, instead of sometimes, again, David, I love what you said. I want to drill into something real quick before I ask the question. Um, you said prepared, being prepared, and having a certain level of comfortability with what is I'm going to talk about. And absolutely, there are environments and times and settings where I'm being called on to bring something, to talk about something technical, and I need to prepare. I mean, I know many of you guys on this call, You are trainers. You're out there. You do CEs, you do CLEs. Like you get up in front of crowds, you talk. And some of you have told me, I want to do that, right? How that's always about preparing, putting your material together. Even in this, while David and I mean, David, I've brought some PowerPoints to this, but we kind of said, no, we need to keep this podcast style. We need to have conversation.
Yep.
And instead of just having a jam chalked slideshow, open it up for questions. And that's really, again, this is our graduates. This is our Energy for Sales cohort graduates landing in this group. And some get invited and land in this group without having gone through, and we want you to be able to go through. But regardless, this is kind of more of a private cohort and turns into a live podcast. That aside, and David, I did set the stage, by the way, that this year is literally, you told me I cannot do like this will not work for the, and yet you've now shown up what, 4 times. So like that's always bonus when you can. So there's no, for you to walk into this packed room, there's never a problem. I love when you join. So that all that to say, I believe that abundant confidence supersedes confidence alone, because confidence is where I feel prepared and humble enough to know that I'm going to make a mistake or stumble or whatever, and be able to be resilient. That's there. That's the baseline. That's confidence. Abundant confidence goes to the point of saying, I've been at this long enough. I have prepared. I've studied, and I study my craft every day. I have habits built in to study my craft every day that I can show up in an environment and make it all about you, the customer. And I can be
Mm-hmm.
abundant with confident that we could do something together. Confident, not cocky, and not even asserting myself. Because I see so many salespeople insert themselves like, you need my product. And they go right for the sell. You need my product. They take one line that somebody says and boom, they go to sell instead of taking that one line and really digging in and just really starting to unpack with questions. Abundant confidence saying, I can, because of my training. So this, let me give you a Navy SEAL illustration. Do they get to pick what rooms they land in? Do they get to pick what situations around the world they land in? Absolutely not. Are they one of the most fiercest forces and confident fighters? I believe so. Why? They train and they train and they train. So how are you training to show up in a conversation you did not know which direction it was going to go? How are you training to go up to somebody that's scary to you? Think about it this way, business to business, right? I see a lot of people, they can make small talk with the gatekeeper. They can talk to all the, different players in the industry, but they put them in front of the owner of the company and they lock up, they freeze. Are you practicing confidence that's abundant, that you're thinking at that level? If I was Miss CEO, Mrs. CEO sitting here, or Mr. CEO sitting here, what is it I want? What is it I'm trying to do? Where am I trying to go? How do I take myself out of the equation for a second to get into their space in order to make their space better? What is that? Do you practice that? Because I believe that's where abundant confidence supersedes, and it draws us out of complacency. Oh, I got to study this script just perfectly so I can make the sale. You know what humans are dying for right now is real, authentic connection, not
Yep.
flashiness, not sales and pitching. So, David, that's where my head goes with abundant confidence. Anything else you would add? Because I do want to start getting into 8 because there's a lot to unpack. But
I'll let you roll into that. I do think also, like when I hear abundant confidence in the scenario of a networking event, just as you're confident, others might not have that confidence, and to be able to be so abundant to latch on to someone and help them get through to build their confidence. And so that was one. But when I think about the buyer journey, the confidence to stay on task, to answer the hard questions, to ask the hard questions. That's the confidence in a B2B sales cycle. I'm sure B2C it's the same scenario. Um, we do the exercise of common objections. I mean, taking your team through, you ask salespeople, how many objections? Oh, we get 15 or 20. No, you normally, when you sit down with the team, there's normally about 3 or 4, maybe
right,
5. And so, again, going back to the preparation, but the training to be confident in most scenarios. The Navy SEALs, they are confident because they've been through most all of those scenarios.
yeah.
and
and,
they don't know which
and
one's going to face them.
right. And confident enough to know the situation can change and that they need each other. And I think that's another big thing is just being honest with ourselves and being, hey, this opportunity in front of me, it's too big. Like I'm not feeling confident. Like lean on a team member. Hey, you've sold to this type of client before. Like what did you find was successful? Where did you do your research? Like what are some questions maybe? And just leaning in, not faking it till you make it. It's just again, that's not a recipe for confidence. So a couple more questions I just want to drop in the chat. Where do you feel or have you ever lost confidence after a season of success or a setback? What happened? Just taking inventory here, right? Where do you feel you've plateaued, and what might it look like to grow past that? And then I've already asked the question. I just want to put it in the chat because I want you guys to be able to copy and paste these if you like, and use them in your team with your team, or use them with even your customers. But just asking these questions and really helping each other out. So what does abundant confidence mean to you? And then a good question I think to ask would be, who do you know that models quiet, grounded confidence well, and what can you learn from them? I just had Paula, David, you know Paula very well. She's retiring. Did you see the news?
I
So
saw that. I was sad for the industry because
I
she brings so much. Yes,
exactly.
I was sad for the organization and for you, but I was sad for the industry because she's
It
abundantly
it
she's out there.
when and here let me share. So she was the epitome of there's something new and I'm gonna try. Like if I see the value, like she poked holes in it. She said, how would this work and whatever. But
Mhm.
she took, for instance, video and she ran with it. She's getting on these bomb videos, she's doing bulletins, she's doing her monthly highlights. She just had this, and it was never flashy. It was never, hey everybody, it was just, hey everyone. So for this month, and she was just calm and just this quiet confidence that I thought over the 2.5 years of knowing her and getting to work alongside of her, and she's, I mean, humble me to call me her coach in some way. I mean, it's like she coached me in so many ways and mentored me in so many ways. But I had her on the call on our team call just to leave some nuggets with us, and then she allowed me to publish those on LinkedIn. Guys, go check it out. Literally a clarion call for any of us who are in the middle of our career or even towards the end to not coast, never level off. But anyway, she to me was somebody I could learn from. So who in your organization or in your sphere? Sometimes we subscribe to a coach that's so far away, and many of you guys, I'm grateful when you subscribe. You're in other states, but find somebody in your local market who's just they just have magnetism and they just have humility and they're just up to so much good in the community and they're just not flashy. Go find that person and regularly, maybe once a quarter, pay for their coffee, take a yellow pad, and just ask them some questions. All right. One last question. What would your week look like if you operated from full belief in your value? Full belief in your value. Guys, I cannot tell you how many times I have thought, do I need to go? Can I? Should I just can? Should I just can this, David? How many? Should I just can this? He said, dude, it's valuable. David, here's the thing. Every time I've thought about canning this, because of pressure or because of whatever internal story I'm telling myself, you said, hey, man, let's get back to what we did way back when. Let's grab a coffee and you and I jump on Zoom and keep each other motivated. Guys, do you realize our podcast was born because David and I jumped on a Zoom call on a Saturday morning as sales leaders just to hold each other accountable to things? And then because other sales leaders were struggling and other people were, and then we had the cohort and people are graduating, we we're like, what if this could just be a landing pad for inspiration for sales skill every month? Like intentional sales philosophy, sales skill. Stuff AI cannot give you, by the way. I use AI every day. It can't give you and this thought process and this space to learn. And every time David says, let's just go back to our podcast. Then I'm like, yeah, or our coffee. I'm like, yeah, we might as well just leave it the live podcast because it's going to be coffee with David and we're letting people join. So do you understand? Like sometimes I lose the full belief in the value. And sometimes your value is staring you right in your face. But you show up into like my life and you say it, and I'm sitting there going, oh, that's exactly what I needed. That's exactly what I need for today. And your customers are thinking the same thing. But because you say it all the time, because it's who you are, you forget, like Og Mandino says, there is no one else created like you. Oh, this quote was so good. I read it. The greatest salesman in the world. Read the book. There's nobody else who walks like you, talks like you, looks like you, doesn't have a nose like you, eyes like you, does not bring the unique value that's only yours to this world. And he said it like this: accept the universe's greatest miracle that was gifted to all of us in you. Like, think about that for a second. It's like, wow, but you bring value. So, how do you operate in that every single day? Let's jump into 8 mindset shifts to develop confidence. And I like to say it this way, develop and defend, because you can develop confidence and people can be mean in the world and take confidence right out. You have to develop and defend. Sometimes we like to be so positive when we're talking about confidence that we forget there is a warfare between good and evil out there. And like, sometimes we kid ourselves like it's just all positive. You could be all positive. You should show up to the world all like generate that, like work hard at it, generate that. But understand there's headlines out there, there's negative stuff. If you're in real estate right now, there's an industry that keeps waiting on the industry to change, and like not all of us, but a lot of us are unwilling to like look inward and say, what can I control and work on and focus on that it's actually in my own power. And you all on this call are doing that with us. But it's like, wow, so there is a war out there, and being willing to just accept the fact that you have to build and bolster, develop and defend, right? Strengthen confidence and protect it, right? So, with that in mind, confidence is first chosen. Number one, realize this is the belief. We started here and we'll just go quickly over this point. Confidence is chosen first, then it's developed. So, it's not something that you're waiting for. Oh, that person just has more of it than me, or maybe I'll feel it eventually. No, it's chosen, and you now develop it. I believe it's the internal decision to show up boldly now. Just show up boldly now. Believe in yourself enough to show up. That's it. Somebody said, good things happen to show up. Good things happen to those who show up. And there's so much more behind that statement than just you're going to get the sell if you show up. Because you're not going to get the sell right away if you show up, but you're going to get the learning. You're going to get the rejection. You're going to get the failure. And if you're humble enough to take the failure and say, I feel like shame because I wasn't prepared, well, that's a healthy shame. Take it and go prepare and show back up. Good things happen to those who show up because you're learning, right? So engaging in that. So confidence is chosen. Then, if we're humble, it's developed. So even when you don't feel ready, show up. Confidence grows with each action you take, especially when it stretches you. So, David, like, how would you capstone the kind of this first mindset shift at the decision that, okay, I'm going to choose it?
I, I mean, yes, we can choose every day to be comfortable or uncomfortable in any situation, and that's the confidence versus lack of confidence. Um, it is a choice. We also make choices along the way. To your point of development, like if I'm not confident in a certain area, what am I doing about it? What am I going to go? How am I going to go to develop the skill set, the learning, the understanding, to be confident, to be comfortable. I think comfortability at times goes a little bit hand in hand with confidence. I'm still kind of blown away at the defending. I don't know if we're going to get back to that, but
Go for it. Yeah.
there are naysayers. There are people that are unhappy out there, and they gain whatever pleasure they can. I don't know, maybe it makes them happy, probably the only time of the day, if they can down you, if they can dish you, if they can knock you off your game, if they can be ugly to you. You touched on a little bit, but I like the defending part. Um, and we own all three of those. We own, the desire to be confident, the developing our confidence, and then defending it because the world at times wants to just take it, not for themselves, but just to take it, just because I guess it feels good that way. But
I love that you just said we own the desire. I think everyone's on this call, and I think everyone in sales, they say, I want to be more, I want to show up more confident, but not cocky confidence, not like this brash, but bold and attractive. Like that's what I see when I think abundant confidence. I think attractive. That person who believes it's available to happen, that they need me. Or they want me in their life. They don't need you, but they want you there to make it happen with them. And yes, I'm going with them. Like that's awesome. So I love that you said 3Ds. You didn't plan this, but I think it just happened. I love like easy to remember stuff. So we own the desire, the development, and the defense. Obviously so fitting your son's, in defense, defending our country, in the Navy and all that. But it's just we own the desire, the development, and the defense of our confidence. That's incredible. And this is not becoming defensive, but putting up just boundaries, putting up, blockades. Like I'm not, I've had David, I told you a long time ago, I had to stop watching evening news. I love being. I grew up in Germany. When Ukraine broke out, I'm like, oh, I was all in. Like I was like, oh, like man, I got angry a lot of healthy anger in that. But at the same time, there were things I couldn't do about it. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
so I was like, and some people are like, well, just don't ever watch the news. Well, I like to also know what's going on in the world and be prepared for conversations and also stay relevant, stay grounded. But how about once a week? How about just get the weekend news about what's going on? 26 minutes instead of an hour every night, 26 minutes on a weekend. Got the highlights, understand. And by the way, what did you quickly learn? It just repeats. It's like news on repeat everywhere. It's about the same stuff, little shifts here and there, but about the same stuff. So, but anyway, all that to say, what did I do instead? An hour, and if it was usually like I listen to like BBC World News or something, and I'd be out doing a project or with the kids or whatever, and I have like something. I was like, either take it out and just be present, but sometimes they were already in bed and I was working late on something. So turn on a book, a podcast, something else that's going to
Mhm.
actually develop and defend the confidence. So anyway, not to get too far back on it, but it's chosen. Confidence is chosen, and it's developed, and I believe defended. All right, so. We own the desire, development, and defense. I had to drop them in the chat because I'm coming back to that one. Okay. Number two, abundance through service. Okay. So number two, the critical mindset shift, I believe, is so much confident development focuses in on us. And I've kind of already made the point, like the difference between being in an unknown environment and still choosing confidence because it's about them. But I think it's abundance through service. Okay. So I see it like this, that as a professional who chooses abundant confidence, I'm not operating like my motivation is not fear or competition. Because when I get like I've got to win this deal over somebody, I miss things. Plain and simple, I miss things. I'm working on me and my pitch and how we're better. And by the way, our pricing, we last month Dave and I talked about, or 2 months ago, we talked about pricing, product, and something else, production or something. I forget. Anyway, but we talked about the price because so many people say we have the cheapest price. Hogwash. Like, stop it. You don't need the cheapest price. You shouldn't have the cheapest price. Remember your value? Remember operating full belief of your value? So here's the deal. Um, you're the professional who, instead of choosing competition, if you're focused on the competition, you're going to pride yourself on a cheaper price. That's not a confident stance. Yeah, you might be confident you have the cheapest price, but that is not confidence. Abundant confidence is how much more can we serve you if we hold to this price point? How much more can we help you? Like, we don't just give you the cheapest price, we actually help you implement. How would that look like for your company? And you're actually going in more challenger mode because you've forgotten the competition. Now, are you aware of the competition? Sure, do your research, but move past competition and fear to what's available, what's possible, and spell out your process. Be diligent with it. Think service. Think service. And what is actually of service? So many people, oh, I serve my customers well. Sometimes what that means is I burn out for my customers. I have no boundaries. That's what I hear. And I mean, that's what I prove when I poke deep enough. Great service means your people are burning out. It's not what great service. Great service is asking really good questions, figuring out what the end result is that will actually improve their life, and sometimes helping them see a different way in getting it that would actually be shorter and better. That's what Jeff Bezos did. You know why it's Amazon and the arrow points from A to Z? He says, how do I get from A to Z faster? And haven't we all benefited? Probably much to our chagrin. Okay. But at the end of the day, service, abundance is all about service. So, David, just we're kind of past the baton here, but you know,
When you said service, I mean, I went to like community service and what things are you doing to make the
wow.
world better? And that gives you confidence. That gives you that great feeling. Um, because anyone you're serving, they're just blown away, but really you're the winner. So that's where I was, that's where I went with service. Service for the love of service makes us more well-rounded, makes us feel good, gives us more confidence. In addition to meeting other people in a non-sales environment, um, who's normally, right alongside of you. Um, but I also think of it from a leadership standpoint. Like how are you? What service are you giving to your team? How are you
Wow.
enabling them to have the confidence to be the best they can be by you know through your service to them? So.
Wow. Something you just said from the leadership standpoint, and I'm going into coach um, with our internal team tomorrow. And, my prayer this morning was just like, make me a servant, nothing more. To be a servant, nothing more. And some of the questions I want to ask is like, where are you being blocked? Like, what resource do you need? How can we come along beside you better? And I think a lot of leaders, we prescribe a lot instead of probe a lot. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
We prescribe a lot instead of probing for what's actually practically standing in their way of getting something done. So we just prescribe, or we bring in somebody in to fix our team because we want a result instead of asking our team, hey, what's the best path forward? Here's where we all want to go. What would work for you? Like what program? I'm willing to invest in a program. What would work for you best?
Mhm.
Getting their buy-in, right? And so um, service, abundance through service. So, and by the way, when you roll that program out that your team is all bought into, I guarantee your confidence will be through the roof and their confidence will be through the roof. So, abundance equals service. Number three, critical. So, again, choosing that confidence is chosen the first development. I'm putting these in the chat for you guys too. And Jeannie, I love the comment. That's awesome. I was not planning on that, but that works. All right. Number two, abundance through service. And then number three, learn, grow, and create space. So I believe that to be confident, um, learn, like put yourself into learning, grow, make like, am I growing? But I believe the key with that is creating space to do that. Like having a consistency for that. Because how many times can I pick up a book or buy a new book and then it just sits there because I didn't do the hard work of actually carving out the
Mhm.
space for it. But why? Why learn, grow, and create space? Because I believe that we have to understand our minds are the most fertile soil. Our minds are powerful. Our minds, and they don't just, you can't just turn your mind on to positivity or confidence and off and it goes like negative. It is a consistent choice over time that we end up building a lifestyle or get building a life based on our lifestyle. So what is your lifestyle? Like what is it you're doing day by day? Are you creating space to learn and grow? I love Napoleon Hill. He says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And so I believe that again, having this place, a constant place of growth creates a constant state of confidence. A constant place of growth creates a constant state of confidence. And wouldn't you agree that it's when you're reading a book or coming out of a lesson or finished a LinkedIn learning, don't you just feel like sharing? Don't you feel like, oh, this is so good? Don't you exude that? And oftentimes it's a spark and we get back into the rhythm and then we sometimes feel like, oh, see, it didn't last. No, maybe it's because we need to consistently create that space so we're sparking at a higher rhythm. Maybe that's the key, right? So, David, you do a great job, I think, at continually learning. I've seen you complete multiple LinkedIn learnings. Not to give a nod to LinkedIn, this is not sponsored by LinkedIn
Yeah.
Learning, but
No, it's not.
what would you say
Yeah.
about learning, growing, and actually creating that space?
I really like the creating space because, some of us lead extremely busy lives. And if we don't, some of that is saying no to one thing so that you can say yes to something else. As you were talking, I sent you a book that we were reading as a company that I felt you should read. And I was on a flight and I felt I really needed to read it. I had the time, but with space also can come grace. Like I, I didn't want to read it at that time. I felt I needed to read it. So I chose to not read it on that flight
Wow.
because I don't know if I would have gotten as much out of those next chapters because I was sort of forcing myself to do it. I had the space, but in it was a shorter flight, and I chose to use that space to play mindless games on my phone, which I don't normally do, but I didn't want to just force myself, because I created space, but my mind, my mind wasn't gonna appreciate that space. Like I was doing it because I felt I just had to do it.
Yeah.
I need to finish that book. I need to read on. I'm flying. That's normally my best time, but I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I gave myself the grace and just didn't do it. So
Well,
I
grace is a
don't know if
great
that's
grace is a great word to lean here because here's the deal. If you're beating yourself up, I think when I find myself beating myself up, it's I'm not being honest with my limitations. Okay. I'm living in a superhero mentality. I'm trying to be all things and I'm not being honest with my limitations. Okay. We grew up, cut can't out of the dictionary, cut the word can't out of the dictionary. You know what? No, the word can't is a very powerful word. I cannot. I cannot because I'm a finite. But it also leads us, if we're again, where's confidence come from in this? It leads us to ask for help. It leads us to be honest. I had a leader tell me the other day, he's like, I gotta spend some time over this weekend reading this book before we all get together. He's like, I've just been swamped and I've just not. I was like, man, listen, there's probably a couple of chapters that would be key in order to, dude, just be honest. Like, you know what I mean? And that's where your confidence comes back. So if you're beating yourself up, oh, I didn't do the thing, I fell off the wagon, you are absolutely not going to be confident. You are all in the barrel. So be honest. That's a level set. You're back to full. And now you can be abundant and actually lean into a meeting and ask questions or learn from others who did read the book. Like, again, don't fake it till you make it. Confidence that will not generate confidence. That will level you off so fast. So, David, I love it. Give yourself grace. And that is just an absolute
and
practical
it also is confidence. I had
take
the
home.
confidence that I was okay doing that for myself.
Yep. Yep. So good. All right, let's talk about this because we talked about you have to defend your confidence. So this one kind of gets more number four, gratitude and reflection. Gratitude and reflection so that you can be rooted, not rattled. Okay. Gratitude and reflection to be rooted, not rattled. And here's where I'll just kind of talk about gratitude. Gratitude's played a huge role in my life. Because I come from, again, I'm not getting into my background. I come from a type of background that nothing was ever right. It was unsettled all my childhood life, and then nothing was ever right. So you're just you're overperforming, and you're never good enough. And you'll number one, you'll quickly burn yourself out. But you're the most just nastiest nice person. Like you're so nice ever you get it all done, but you just can't even you don't even know how to live with yourself, and then people don't like to live with you. So that's it, quickly where I was headed early in my life, and gratitude has like been my anchor, guys. And gratitude and reflection, I believe number one, gratitude grounds you because you could be having the most crummy day, and you can literally look up and think, I have it so much better than a lot of people, the majority of people. Okay. And then the other thing is storms will happen in your life and they will shake you. And self-doubt will absolutely creep in. And all those things are good things. Storms are sent to test us, to strengthen us. And self-doubt just tells me that I'm human, just like everybody else, right? So instead of feeling like I'm deficient and choosing to be, timid, I can choose confidence in simply returning to reflect. Remember, confidence is the memory of success. I can just reflect on how much is actually going right. How
Mm-hmm.
much, what my customers have said. Go to Google and look at the positive reviews. Don't obsess about the negatives. You can reply to those later. There will always be some negative review, but go look at the positives. Your name has been used. The kids told me that they came home. They said, "Daddy, you're like all over the internet." And I'm like, I don't really like Google. I like, what happened? And they're like, well, our friend like Googled you and like was like, yeah, your dad's like on YouTube. I'm like, I was like, well, okay, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if you need it, go out there and like, okay, maybe I've contributed something to the world. If you're going to need that at times, so reflect, be grateful, but more than just be grateful for what you've been able to do in the world. Be grateful for all the people who've given you the opportunity, all the mentors in your life. David, there's been times you probably think like, oh, Tim must be like, I don't know where he's coming from, but you'll just get a sappy text from me, right? And you get a sappy text from me because it's just these moments in my life that I'll carve out to go get on Lake Anna for 4 hours with no phone and just think, like, let my heart catch up with my body and just think, wow, what opportunities I've been gifted. Wow, what people I've been gifted. It roots you, it grounds you. And then also, if you'll think long enough, you'll actually see some of the core things that keep coming up for you that you're
Hmm.
calling. And you'll be like, wow, I'm actually way over here. I'm doing all this stuff that doesn't actually matter. Let me get back to my calling because that's where my confidence is. So gratitude and reflection will ground you. So that was point number four, and that's all I'll say. David, passing the baton.
Not much. I mean, you're very gracious, and I don't know exactly where you are with these texts, but I know that you care enough about me to share it, and that's the confidence I have in you. That now, if I have a question, I'll let it sit and I'll circle back around if I didn't understand or if I want to check in and make sure you're okay. Uh, but no,
You
very
did do a
gracious.
welfare check once. You
I
did.
have done
It's
that.
like, dude, where did that come from? I was like, you're not going anywhere, are you? No, it's just sit and reflect, and it's interesting. You'll get in touch with your feel. You'll actually your heart and your body. You'll have congruence again. It's where integrity is, and somebody said integrity is just being a congruent person. With that your mind, body, soul. Um, so important. So, but David, I mean, practicing gratitude. One quick little this is Andrew. Andrew taught me this a long time ago from his JP Morgan Chase days. But anytime he gathered the sales team or the management team or whatever, he would just keep a stack of postcards on the conference table. And either before they wrapped the meeting or before they started, depending on what the mood was and what he decided, they took 5 minutes, just set the timer, and everyone grabbed a postcard and just wrote either a team member or a customer or a business partner, just whoever bubbled up came to mind, a postcard and then you could just jot the postcard and take it back and go Google the address later. But it was the exercise was jot the postcard and then this week at some point drop that in the mail. And they would leave the meeting and everyone's spirits immediately were like lifted. So talking about abundant confidence, gratitude for all the opportunities and all the people and all the possibilities that are in your life and even ahead. What lies
Well, I
behind
mean,
you?
if
What
you remember
lies?
back, I mean, we had an exercise, a cultural exercise where you would write a person's name and why you appreciated them, and then you would, in front of the group, read that to them. That's a confidence builder as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Tim, I appreciate you because you're always thoughtful and thankful and gracious. And that's a great exercise with a smaller
That
team.
was that was yes, I remember. And that was our morning huddle, and everyone brought a kudos to somebody from the day before who just really stood out
Mm.
or went the extra mile. You talk about powerful, man. But again, it roots you, it grounds you. So we're halfway through four. We'll move through the next four pretty quickly. And I say that, and we'll probably spend a lot of time. Um, but make sure you revisit your past wins. Remember the people you've served well. I mean, you bring a lot to the table. Remember who you are, and gratitude, reflection grounds you. Okay. I would say number five, and this is a little countercultural, so buckle your seatbelts. Break the branding bottleneck. Break the branding bottleneck. So, why, again, Charlotte and I gave her kudos for like putting abundance with confidence. Like I've never thought to marry the two. And so this discussion with Charlotte, she and I were brainstorming and it was just this abundance and confidence. And I'm like, dude, boom, abundant confidence. And I'm like, wow. But in that, I see a lot of confidence plastered all over social media. And you guys can, I'm not making any judgment calls here. I'm just telling you what I observe and I'm telling you like it is. Okay, when I look at social media, number number one, I already know there's enough negative out there. So I'm always like thinking from my perspective, I'm called to be a light in the world. Okay. So my first motivation is like I want to be a light and a giver and on any social platform. Okay. So number one, that's kind of where I'm coming from. So just understand my worldview there. But so a light and a positive force and being like exuding gratitude. So again, abundant confidence is, do you ever have it? Do you need a bio, Tim? Yeah, I have a bio. I get introduced to speak. Okay, so what? At the end of the day, toss the bio. I'm a servant, nothing more. Like I want my grounding to be in turn, like but there are things I do, right? So the bio's there. But here's what I know. In our industry, there's so much branding. There's so much like the colors have to be just right. The branding has to just be on point. And everything's about like, the titles, the achievements, the this, the that, the I was nominated for this, I was this, that, and the other, and I'm like, at the end of the day, you will get so much more, and it's not necessarily because of this motivation of wanting so much more. But I'll just tell you from like a marketing and sales perspective, if you're going for engagement, you'll get so much more engagement if you just shift the perspective to, and many of you do this already. You're in your communities, you're doing things, but just shift it more to the like, how do I celebrate the wins of the
of
people I was
others.
with? How much am I uplifting others? How much am I celebrating them? Go out in the community and do and promote for something in your community. I think number one, your engagement goes way up. But I also think just that number two, you find out that you're already doing this stuff behind the scenes, and somehow you subscribe to this marketing company that said, "Oh, we got to get you on point," and they hooked you because they want this massive contract for years to come. And it's like this branding bottleneck that you don't even enjoy putting the content together. You actually don't. You're posting all this stuff about, and you kind of feel vain, and it's like, ugh, ugh, ugh. And I'm with professionals who are doing this, and I'm like, why are you doing it? You don't even like doing it. So I call it
Yeah.
a branding bottleneck. How about just be true to you? Who are you? And you're like, well, I don't know if people want to see like behind the scene. No, actually, that's all we want to see. Like, stop posting on the billboard like, oh, look at me, look at me. It's like, hey, here's what I get to do. I'm so grateful to get to do this. And just promote the people you're with. I'll tell you, and David, I've used this illustration. There's one, like people are like, I need to go viral. You don't need to go viral. You need to just show, if you're going to do anything, showcase your service, showcase what you're doing, showcase your team. Just do that. And people, it's just so much better. So, and again, I'm not saying nothing can be branded. Branding is awesome. You have a great company logo, be proud of it. But just there's a branding bottleneck when you're always trying to be on point. It always has to be about the colors. It's always got to be about your credentials. It's always got to be about just break that bottleneck because it is a
Well,
bottleneck.
I
So
think, I mean, there's a bigger thing. I'm gonna give two really very timely examples of this over the last week. Everything we post, we're creating a brand, whether we recognize it or not. And one of my top, I led a BDR team, probably the one of the best salespeople I've ever had in my life. I looked at her LinkedIn profile, two-time Diamond Club winner, MDR. We call them MDRs, not BDRs. MDR of the year, blah blah blah. It's like there was a better way for her to promote herself than just look at me. And one of my best friends here in Nashville, they went on a trip. Here's a picture. Our view this morning for breakfast. I felt like taking a picture of my cat's bowls and like that's my view of breakfast this morning, or a coffee cup, or a bowl of cereal. But so it's like I think we need to be careful because it can be the bottleneck. I can understand, but just know that everything you put out there in the world, you're branding yourself.
I love it, man. And it reminded me of a quote. I had to look just real quick, look down and pull it up. Your brand is not what you say it is. Your brand is what your customers say it is. So I would just say if you want to be more on brand and not have that branding bottleneck, just share more what your customer like. Share the experience. Like if a customer's in your office having a great experience, hey, can we grab a quick selfie? Like so let's share this experience. Share that. That's going to be much more attractive. You talk about abundant confidence. And by the way, all the algorithms love, or all the algorithms not love. They promote what your customers say about you 1,000 times more than what you say about yourself because the algorithms built like Google. That's why I'm such a proponent of Google reviews or like getting reviews from customers or asking for reviews. I say earning the review, but earn the review, ask for it because your customers' words have so much more weight and gold online than your words. If they see your profile saying it, it's like, yeah, of course. But if your customer's profile is saying it, it's like put that way up at the top because that must be a trustworthy opinion. So
Yep.
uh, again, I'm not saying never say I won this award. There's absolutely time and place, but I think too, do it from a grateful heart. Lift up all the people who brought it, like David was saying. There's a way to do it, but I think again, just break the branding bottleneck. Because again, I'm with a lot of professionals who they don't even feel confident in their social strategy, and I'm like, well, why is number one? Does social need to be a strategy? It's supposed to be a connection point. So how are
Yeah,
you actually connecting with human beings
I don't
on?
see too many people say, thankful for those I serve because I'm humbled at being awarded this.
Yeah.
Everything else is just, picture on the stage. Hey, look at me.
Um, I will say this real quick, and this kind of goes along with this point. And sometimes, and I said this to a group, and somebody came up afterwards, this speaking engagement I was at, and they were like, dude, I wrote what you said down. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm very honored. Like, what did you write? And she said, sometimes, you said this, Tim. She said, and it came out, and apparently it sounded okay. So sometimes we're doing things we've done for years and they're actually limiting connection. Sometimes we're doing things we've done for years and they're actually limiting connection. I think back in the day, you had to lift up some of the things you earned because nobody could go find those. You're now in a social environment where I can go look at your bio and get it. And then you just keep plastering my face. It just feels, and especially to your millennial and Gen Z and now what, Gen Alpha and everything, they're not buying it. Have you heard about the alpha stare? David, have you heard about the alpha
No.
stare? You need to LinkedIn the alpha stare. Everybody, you need to LinkedIn what is the alpha stare and understand. Like, and my kids actually do it. They'll just sit there like this. And I'm going on about something. And I was, okay, so what's next? Like what? Like it's called the alpha stare, and it's because their whole brain is wired totally different than ours. They don't need the excitement. We were talking about this at lunch the other day. Jeannie, absolutely. Go look it up. Alpha stare. It's incredible. But
You know how we can get back at that generation?
well, how's that?
Write in cursive writing.
All right. Sure. Hey,
They
that
don't know
was
how to read
awesome.
it.
That was awesome. That's great. Um,
I've been
David,
getting
I
an
love
alpha
it.
stare for years,
I
but
love
that was
it.
from my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Um, I'll say this, number six. Um, so confidence is chosen, then it's developed, right? So confidence is doing it afraid. Okay. Confidence is do it afraid. And David, you came in and you started down this line, and it's absolutely where we were headed. I was like, awesome, because that's where we're going. So it's the courage to do it anyway. Do it scared, but do it anyway. So I'm going to put this one in the chat as well, but I want to
Yep.
read this Zig Ziglar quote I found. Um, Confidence is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and taking this tartar sauce with you. Okay. So that's where I'm at. It's like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, don't try to put on Saul's armor. Take your five smooth stones, take who you are, show up authentically, and lean in to the fear. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a legitimate feeling that hopefully drove us to prepare as best as we can, hopefully keeps us respectful of the environment we're in. And thank you. And do you still have enough time? Is 45 minutes on the calendar still work for you? Hopefully, but it doesn't stop us. So many people we hear this as such a cliche, but we get paralysis by analysis. We're looking at it from all the angles as opposed to just what if I take the first step, truly believing that when I step, the net will appear. Um, so David, I'll throw this one over to you. Do it afraid, do it scared, but do it anyway. Confidence takes action. I would dare say you could choose confidence, but you cannot develop it. And you really can't choose it. You can decide on it, but you really can't choose it until you take that step, because that's where confidence, you have to be building memories of success. And when you fail, just say, I'm closer to success. I'm failing forward, but you have to act. So, number six, we have to act. Pass it over to
That
you.
the old saying, that person was cool, calm, and collected. That that's confidence. We don't know what's going on behind it, but that's the appearance. I like to bring the tartar sauce.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's an
Go after
assumptive
Moby Dick in a
close.
rowboat. Oh,
That's assumptive close right there.
my company doesn't do this, or I had somebody call me the other day, and it was not a complaint. This was not a complaint because I just kind of shared a complaint, and now I went to somebody calling. And so if that somebody's watching, this was not you complaining, because I do hear the complaint. My company doesn't do this. My company doesn't do that. Okay, I get that. I get some maybe internal limitations, but what are you doing? Have you presented a solution to your company to go after this? Talk about the person who called me the other day, presented a solution, but it was a solution around like we need to invest like money into this market in this big time way to go set up shop. And I was like, that's probably a great idea down the road. Have you spoken in front of the Realtors Association down there yet? No, I haven't. Okay, how about we go line up three of those and we become a household name in our ability in our center of control, what we can actually control, and then present to leadership. Hey, I've generated this. I've been doing this. They keep inviting me back. I'm seeing some deals now, and it would really help us 10x that if we had an office presence. That is doing it for, because a lot of times we're afraid of something, so we're conjuring up a solution that, if we're honest, won't ever happen. It's not going to happen. You already know it's dead on arrival. You're gonna, but we're excusing ourselves. What can you do that would stretch you out of your comfort zone to go? And here's the other thing: you don't know till you go. And until you immerse yourself in a market, do you even belong there? Do you need to be there? Do you know, like what? Maybe there's an acquisition opportunity instead of setting up shop. Maybe somebody's getting out. Like, go immerse yourself. So do it scared, but do it anyway. Go, just go. Um, and that's the other thing is this, dude, walk in late. I had to break this like toxic shame of walking in late. When I have 4 kids and schedules and all this, I will tell you some of my biggest contracts came out of a 30 minutes of that networking event that I went ahead and went to, or showing up late to my coach at the 4 a.m. class that I'm now 4:30 because I just couldn't get it, or a bird flew in the house, or I just freaking slept in. But I went and showed up, and my muscles thanked me. My coach thanked me. He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you showed up to class." He never shamed me. But it's this toxic shame of showing up. Go do it. I was always scared, but do it anyway. Go show up anyway. And yes, if you can limit what's going on in your life, then absolutely, and show up on time. But do it scared. There are things that'll scare you. Do it anyway. All right, let's keep moving. We got 10 minutes. We got to wrap. So, David, I know you came in with it, so I'm not going to pass the baton unless there was something else you wanted to say on that one.
I'm just mortified getting places late. I got to get over that, I guess. I just am.
Well,
Stresses me
listen,
out.
a couple of things will never, like, right? Speaking engagements, dude, I get there the night before, right? So there's certain things that I completely protect. But it's like a networking event is more casual. Your gym,
Yeah.
because something came up in the morning, like, just there's certain things. So there's going to be things in your sales world. I guarantee you that you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't jump on because I'm a little late to this thing. Or my team member will handle that. I'm 15 minutes like, jump on. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for
Yeah.
handling the first part of this call. I know I'm a little late, guys, but I want to jump on, show my support, a demo call or something. Just do it afraid. All right. So number 7, courage to challenge. Courage to challenge. And I kind of touched on this when I was talking about service and leaning in and that abundance through service. And you're like abundant in that new space because you're like that challenger, you're asking questions. But I really think that there's going to be something that happens. Your customer or your prospect or even a boss is going to say something. And in your gut, that, man, there's a better way. I can challenge this. So I think confidence is not just about showing up, it is about stepping in. Or there's something you see that could be improved, but it's going to take a little bit of energy. It's going to take a little bit of time. And I believe that, again, courage to challenge and not just be a yes person, to speak the truth in love, to offer insights, even to give, to show up and give something of value. So I believe that is where boldness and confidence really starts to take shape, because you're learning that it's about asking better questions. It's about presenting solutions in a better way. But I have the ability and the gift to challenge assumptions. I can, again, abundant minded. I am able, I have choice. I can help others rise. I've learned, and I think it comes maybe with age. I think some people are gifted with this earlier on. It's certainly taken me years to work at. But I think as I've grown older, I actually help people more when I don't just give the feedback that I know they want to hear.
Mhm.
But again, understanding where they're at as well. If they're newer, don't just blast them, hey, this is how you can improve your speech. Give them like, hey, this and this was great. And if I can have your permission, David, you did this with me just recently. You're like, hey, do I have your permission to coach you on something? I'm
I said,
like
are
a
you are
hundred
are
percent,
you
man.
open to some coaching?
Are you open to some coaching? I'm like 100%. And what did I tell you the
Yep.
day after?
It was a home run.
It was
It
a
was
home run.
simplified. You had less time, and it you
And
had
I
greater impact.
tweaked one little thing. Well, a couple little things, but I tweaked, and bam, it was glorious. So courage to challenge. Courage to challenge is number seven.
I think
Would
if
you
you're
add anything else?
always, I think if you're always seeking to understand, and you touched upon this, if your phraseology, if your approach is really to seek to understand why that is someone's position, or even why that was a question. Sometimes in sales, people will ask these off the wall, ridiculous questions, and if you just ask, well, how often does that happen, or share a little bit more why that's important.
Hmm.
Sometimes they'll retreat. It's like, oh, it really wasn't. They were looking to take you off your confidence game. You had to defend it. Sometimes you can defend it with asking them what's driving that question, that mindset,
Yeah.
without being confrontational.
That's incredible advice. And Jeannie, I'm right on with that. Is like questioning the question with is
Yep.
what's driving this question? Like where's hey, I'm instead of getting defensive, it's just like, hey, help me understand like where are you coming from? Like what's driving the question? Is something going on that maybe I'm not privy to, or just deflating, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's like confrontational, right? Deflating the situation. But courage to challenge, I think it's very, very powerful. And again, it comes from a calm rootedness, right? So these kind of do stack on each other. Um, but anyway, keep moving on here. That's awesome. I would just say that at the end of the day, we're here to challenge and serve. We talked about service, but challenging gets us to greater service, I believe. And I like this quote. It says, "Boldness is generosity when rooted in care. Boldness is generosity when rooted in care." Think about that. All right. Um, Now we talked about reflection and gratitude. We talked about, confidence is chosen and further developed. Um, I would just say I'll end. We'll kind of get back to the defense here. Just protect the soil, protect your inner world, protect what's going on inside. Your mind is fertile ground. What you plant daily, your thoughts, beliefs, inputs will grow. We talked about like creating space for learning. The last point is kind of there, but it's more about protecting the soil, and this is your habits. So this is more about what you choose daily. So when it comes to habits, protecting your confidence by guarding your inputs and nourishing your soul. Limit comparison. Comparisons, we know it's the thief of joy, but it's absolutely the thief of confidence. Practice stillness, journal your progress, create a mindset maintenance routine. Think about that mindset maintenance. When have you checked your mind in for maintenance recently? Or is the oil light like red and like 10,000 miles behind? Like, you know what I mean? So protect your soil, and that's your inner world. And I think I would say develop the daily habits. That would absolutely, and I'm going to put a few in the chat that I think all of us can take for the road. But David, we're going to end here. Like, what are some of your habits, man, when it comes to choosing confidence or every day, like being in that confident mindset?
Great question. I don't think at times I'm where I need to be. At times when I'm at my best, it is that stillness. It's that connection with myself prior to anything else. Prayerful, and having a clean mind and clean body and clean spirit. They all go hand in hand. Um, Proper sleep, proper amount of sleep. Um, I get a lot out of walking. I know you run. You runners are crazy. But I can,
Hey, move
an
with
hour and
ethanol.
ten, an hour and 10 minute walk at a decent pace can do the same thing and also frees your mind. Being in nature. A buddy and I, we go on the Greenway here in Nashville. I'm fortunate to be right across from a beautiful park.
Yeah,
So
that's
those
awesome.
are the daily routines. What you mention are things I need to do. I do not journal. I should. I do not end my day or start my morning with what am I appreciative about. I think that's a great practice, and I don't do that. So there's some room for improvement with me, but I think I'm okay.
Hey, with me too, man. My hands up. And thank you for sharing that. I love the Greenway with a buddy. I think that we're doing this campaign right now called Move with F and F. I
Mm.
think you saw it.
Yep.
Me and a buddy were running a marathon. We're like, hey, let's go. It's funny. Didn't even plan on this. Let's go be abundant with this and invite people in, right? So, but I love it. So, a couple of things real quick, and I'm gonna put these in the chat, but just some. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just a little bit of quiet time in the morning. I have this wristband, which is like my creed, and I put it on, and I found myself, David, just putting it on out of habit, and I just had this like gut in like yesterday, just hey, pause and actually read it. Pause and read it again. So I paused and I read it, and I just had this sense of presence and this sense of meaning. And I'm like, wow, how often? So again, habits can be refreshed. Sometimes habits
Hmm.
don't work for this life phase anymore. So just like refresh your habits, but quiet time in the morning, maybe have just something in your mind that's every day going to build some gratitude. So if that's journaling for you, that's great. Maybe it's a social media post that would be your kind of gratitude thing. That might work. If you want to be, loud about it. Sometimes I think there's just some stillness that's absolutely uh, beneficial. And then I would say this, build a confidence anchor reminder. So have something like a mantra that you've written down somewhere that will preserve you in the day of trouble. And what I mean by that is if everything is going to pop for me, I will go back to bonus mindset. Bonus mindset. And for me, that is somebody did not get to live today. I did. I woke up. And therefore, with the next breath I take, I'm called for something. I'm still here for something. So bonus mindset is always my reset. I would just have a confidence anchor. I go into a big meeting, I start getting anxiety, and even like this, and I'm like, bonus mindset, Tim. You woke up today. You are called to something. Show up, do it. Be a
Yep.
blessing. So have a confidence anchor, and then just have above the line, like pay attention to your language. Above the line language is what can I own in this? What's the opportunity here? What can I do about this? What choice do I have to make this better for someone else? Above the line is you are empowered as opposed to, oh, I can't, I'm not empowered, I don't have enough. It's scarce below, abundant above. So above the line language, it would be just pay attention on a daily basis to your language. And then I would just say when you're selling, connect before you sell. So before you go into any, just ask better questions, ask a question, sit with somebody, ask a personal question. Just again, confidence there, and then just protect your inputs. Unfollow that content that's just negative. You might have to lose some friends, unfollow some people, but those are some things. I'm going to drop them in the chat. You guys can take those and run with them. I know we're up at 3. David, you get the golden microphone, man. Close us out.
No, I'm going to pass it back to you. I thought this was great, and now I need to go work on my list um, of my routines and the things that help settle me and bring joy. Typically, it's doing something for someone else, and maybe it's taking care of the cats in the morning because the humans aren't awake yet.
The cats are
But
they
it
will
but
they will
but it is super important to do something positive before we jump into the rush of emails, the rush of this. Let me check that. Let me
so good,
have to
so
do.
good.
That's why when I used to work out, I had to do it early in the morning, which I need to get back to that because once I'm engaged, I'm engaged. So
Yeah, yeah.
take that quiet time for yourself.
That's the golden nugget. I think your golden nugget was I'm going to take stuff away from this myself and implement.
Yeah,
I think implement's the golden nugget. So pick
yeah,
one thing you heard today, implement it, and better yet, share it with the team. And then hashtag abundant confidence. We'll try and search it
yeah,
up. Hashtag
yeah,
energy for sales. Tag me or Davis so we can celebrate, cheer you guys.
yeah.
But go out, have a wonderful rest of your August. We'll see you back in September, guys. We have a pretty awesome fall stack lined up. And then those of you who are in the cohort, I'll see you in person in October. So excited to kick that off. David, love you,
Thanks for
brother.
having me. Love you too,
Take
man.
care.
Take care.